Volume 3 Chapter 2 Tenosyvinotis and Mimeograph. History shall repeat itself. The owner of the Different World Pharmacy whispered as if to say a proverb with a solemn face while staring at his schedule book that was about to be full until next year. What history? Is it the history of pharmacology? Ellen asked. Although Ellen agreed to become a lecturer in the medicine academy in front of Bruno, she seemed dispirited, saying that she does not have the confidence to teach students. Because of that, she took out pharmaceutical books from the academy's library and started reviewing. My history of dying of overwork, or my passing history. It looks like Falma's predisposition of snowballing the work he accepts has not changed in this life as well. Not only that, it had worsened because unlike his past life, he cannot leave it to others. No, this isn't someone else's fault. I'm increasing my work myself too. This is bad. My schedule book is already this full right now. I'll absolutely die if I become a professor. His current life, of which he thought of spending it with the motto of helping people and not trying too hard. However, within just a year after reincarnating, he was already overworked and felt a sense of crisis. He does not wish to repeat his mistake twice. If I die next time, I probably won't reincarnate. Luckily, it was decided that he could start teaching at San Fluive Medicine Academy next year. They said that during the preparatory period, there would be arrangements of the newly established department, organizing of the laboratories and experimental rooms, and recruitment of students in the academy. Especially that excellent students would be gathered not only all over the empire, but also from all over the world, and there would be an entrance examination for special entries of free tuition free. It looks like they were really putting their heart and soul into it. And Falma must do something about the work he has while they did that. Let's pace down. Let's decrease the work. For the meantime, the threat of the Black Plague has left right now too. Everyone's health is important, but my own health is important as well. Falma took a deep breath. Before the plague's outbreak, massive spread of infection must be prevented at all cost, but there is currently no large-scale danger at the moment. If it were Falma in his past life, he would have carried out a death march of simultaneously proceeding with all of the work that must be done, but this time, he is currently wary of death from overwork. Do you know about death from overworking? What does that mean? Ellen tilted her head while wiping her glasses. Not pushing themselves too hard and working is only until the sun sets is their national trait, so it would seem that the phrase of death from overworking does not even exist. Rest when you are tired. That was natural. Light is valuable, so do not work through the night. That was also natural. Doesn't Ellen get tired? Come to think of it, my head started to ache. Because of working too much. It's from being too dizzy wearing glasses. It cannot be helped. It looks like Ellen would have a headache when wearing strong glasses for a long period. She would be relieved if there was only contact lenses for her, Falma thought, but it would be difficult to manufacture in reality. No, wait, we could make the contact lenses materials, so it shouldn't be that impossible to manufacture. Falma started to increase his work again. And then? What's that, dying from overwork? It's literally dying from working too hard. It is true, Falma-kun is working too hard, but would Falma-kun die? Ellen has divinized Falma, so it would seem that she could not come up with such idea. As far as I know, you have become tremendously robust since you were hit by lightning. So much that I would even think that the person inside has changed as well. The boy Falma originally would catch cold several times a year because he would get drenched during water-type divine arts training, and would receive unexpected injuries. There were also times when he became so sick that he could not attend classes, so he was not compelled to do things that much. But right now, compared to that, he would not get sick nor get injuries. He would only get few scratches from training, and would not shed blood. I wonder what would happen if I die from overwork? If I die and withdraw my consciousness from this Falma, would this boy regain his consciousness? Falma felt guilty after thinking of that. No, but the boy Falma would not awaken while sleeping. This boy's consciousness, did it die after all? Anyways, I should take care of this boy Falma's body very well, he thought while stretching. That's right. It's like we're being protected by Falma-kun. I'm grateful for that. Thank you for protecting us. Ellen took Falma's hand, stared right into his eyes, and looked at Falma somewhat shyly with her cheeks flushed red. Falma skipped a heartbeat. He would not feel anything for Ellen because he would look at her as a colleague, but looking at her carefully, she looked seductive. Ellen, she wouldn't have made such face before. Rather, it would seem that Ellen is frightened of Falma after he reincarnated, treating him as a monster. Did she gradually started to open her heart and trust me as time has passed? Falma felt happy. This is all thanks to Falma-sama. We were always under your care. Lot agreed to Ellen, although she did not understand the meaning within Ellen's words properly. You would be a professor in the academy starting next year too. I wonder if I'll be able to support you properly? Ellen worried about Falma with pity. A professor in the academy? How great would Falma-sama be? He's so amazing. Although he's still young, is he a genius? Is he nothing but a genius? Praises from a lot who got excited, making fists with both hands would not stop. She is not saying it as flattery, but seriously. The academy is a completely unknown world for a commoner like Lot. And the big shots and big teachers from that unknown world had all noticed and recognized Falma, and Lot sent gazes of reverence towards him. Of course, Lot thinks that Falma is just another person, even after that fight with Camus. It is all unprecedented. Falma-sama would become busier and busier from now on. Cedric felt concerned as well. I can't make everybody worry. I should fix my schedule. There are times when a person's life would depend on it, so I can't really decrease my workload. If so, what needed is efficiency. I'll die if I won't be able to do my work efficiently at shorter times before the academy lectures start. And while Falma was thinking of that, it was already time for the afternoon consultation, and a very suspicious sibling wearing masks and hats to their eyes came. Judging from their voice, they are in their late teens. Why are you wearing masks? Please take them off. Are they extremely shy people? Or do they have something to hide? It is Falma, so it is possible for him to diagnose them using his diagnosis eye, but normally, it is impossible to diagnose them with their faces hidden. You mustn't ask. You mustn't know their faces. It's that kind of job. Ellen whispered to Falma's ear. She said that he should respect the patient's privacy. Ellen is an apothecary who is good at reading that kind of atmosphere. Falma was also convinced and, well then, what should I do for you today? Apothecary-sama, our wrists and bones would not be relieved of pain. Do you have a cure? Tenosyvinotis. Falma did not even need to use his diagnosis eye, but he still checked to be sure. He would use the diagnosis eye as an auxiliary like diagnostic imaging. It looks like the root of the thumb seemed to be inflamed. The two of you have overused your hands here. It is called tenosynovitis. Tenosynovitis? The siblings dumbly asked back. Yes, your thumb's tendon is inflamed. I will give you a painkiller. You should use a supporter as well. Also, is it possible for you to make your hands rest? It is impossible. We would be unable to pay for our keep. We have a huge sum of debt. The two of you, can I ask what kind of job you have? The two of them said at the same time. We write handwritten newspaper. Handwritten newspaper? What kind of job is that? It was a job that it is easy to imagine having tenosynovitis just from hearing it. Can I ask you in detail? It is a job of writing gathered information into paper, and selling it to those who need them. Although, I cannot disclose the content. The younger sister equivocated. Ha ha, I see now. They are doing extremely coverage activities. So there is no way that even a single town apothecary must know their faces, or maybe, they are handling business information or military information, Falma guessed. The reason for them having a huge debt must also be because they would cross dangers due to their work. All of it is just a speculation though. There are cases that surgery or steroid injection is needed when the pain caused by tenosynovitis gets worse, but rest is basically for the best. How many newspapers do a handwritten newspaper writer copies? One can write 50, but a little more when in good shape, but there would also be mistakes in writing that won't be sold, so we need to write more. 50 newspapers. Of course you'd have tenosynovitis. The profits increase the more you write, right? Does all of the things you write the same information? Yes. That's right, the sibling nodded while rubbing their wrists with teary eyes. Does that newspaper must absolutely be handwritten? Suddenly, Falma thought of something unconfirmed with them. Is there anything other than handwriting? The sibling looked at each other. Of course, as long as the information can be read, the newspaper will be sold. Although we need to compensate if there is misinformation. The younger sister dropped her shoulders. Oi, stop it. Ha ha, please forget about that. It looks like they had sold misinformation. Had they written skipped articles? It looks like being a newspaper man is hard, and they might be unable to stop being a newspaper writer because of the debt from that. Falma came up with an idea. Please come here again after 1 week. I'll your job a little easier. Why yes, well then, we will come again. The siblings said that they would come again, although doubtful, bought a wrist supporter from the pharmacy, and returned after receiving a pain reliever. This is also a good opportunity, Ellen. I want to ask something. Is there only handwriting when transcribing literature and articles in this world? Does etching doesn't even exist? What about letterpress printing? Falma confirmed. It's not like there's none. There were woodblock and lithographic printing too. But it's obsolete right now. Ellen made a gesture of remembering, placing a pointing finger on her temple. It's true, it's very hard to make blocks. It would be on a large scale too. It would take a long time to make printing blocks. Speed is life for informants. And there is also no need to print that much, so there would be transcriptions while blocks are being made. The newspaper writers from earlier should be the same. After hearing that, Falma thought that should be good. I'll try to make a mimeograph typer. It is a printing method that does not need electricity, which was often used in educational settings until 1960s in Japan. It's what they call mimeo. Do you have a new idea for an invention? Falma-kun, you're increasing your workload again. You mustn't infinitely increase your work even though you think it's alright yourself. If the newspaper writers feel pain from their wrists, then they should just change their job. Or maybe, continue it while drinking pain relievers. Ellen worried about Falma. Ellen's idea of, if you can't work, then find another job, was really that of an earl's daughter. It was not like there was no freedom of choosing their jobs, but the commoner's circumstance is that it is hard to change their family business. No, this is also to decrease my work. If one were to ask what was loading Falma's schedule, other than clinical service, it would be writing textbooks and preparation of pharmaceutical lecture materials. During his past life, Falma had created a lecture slide, and used it for pharmaceutical department lectures for many years. So, he came up with a way of making textbooks and lecture handouts at the same time. The problem with transcribing is that because speed is needed, there would be human mistakes, or insertion of unintended interpretation. Because Falma's textbooks have diagrams, graphs, and chemical formulas, its nuance and details would not be conveyed with lame illustrations. It is a needed technology when thinking of copying exactly what Falma has written. We can make handouts to explain the pharmacy's drugs too. It would take a lot of time to explain to patients what the medicine isn't for. But if it can be printed, they can just make the patients read them, making them able to save time and convey the information to the patients correctly. And with that, they would be able to diagnose more patients, leave the other explanations to other apothecaries, and shorten the consultation hours. Good deeds should be done quickly. Good deeds should be done quickly. Falma ordered base paper on specialized thin paper painted with wax and petroleum jelly from the paper shop, and received it within 3 days. What are you going to do with that? Ellen and Laud approached him very curiously. They approached expecting something interesting will happen. Let's draw with everyone. Why? I want to do it. Lot raised her hand. Using the stencil made beforehand that is placed on top of a file folder, a drawing was made as if to scratch the base paper. And then, the base paper was damaged. That base paper was then fixed onto a silk-covered wooden frame, the ink was applied to a roller, and pressed into the printing paper. The ink came out of the parts removed from the base paper, and would be printed on paper. Amazing. To think that you can print something so easily. Ellen was impressed by the outcome of the printing. Ellen, what did you draw? Ellen seems to have printed a somewhat advanced art. Although Falma thought it was rude, he did not know whether it is a person or an animal. It's Falma-kun. How is it? This is me. I see, haha, thanks. What's with that reaction? On one hand, with Ellen not having an artistic sense, Lot seems to be very talented on the other. That which looked like a copy of a bouquet decorated in the pharmacy, looked like an art decoration painting, and really seemed like art. Lot-chan, that illustration of a flower's really beautiful. What do you think about becoming an artist? I'm sure that this would sell. Eh? Is that so? I'll sell it. This is very interesting. It's so fun. Looking at Lot, who innocently continuously printed rolling the roller, Falma thought she was so adorable and felt soothed. Lot-chan, you printed too much. Are you planning on selling all of them? A mountain of works was created very quickly. By the way, you can print it with different colors by changing the color of the ink. If you want to be a printmaker, it would be a good idea to add some style, Falma suggested to Lot. Lot seemed to like it a lot and might become her full-fledged hobby. After 1 week, the newspaper sibling came as promised. This time, they were wearing masks similar to Venetian masks. How does your wrists feel? Is it still painful? Thanks to the medicine, it does not hurt anymore. But even so, it seems like their amount of work of writing newspapers haven't changed, although they are doing it while drinking pain reliever for the last week. Sorry to keep you waiting. I made a mimeograph, so please use this starting today. Mimeograph? Falma taught them how to use it, seeing that they seemed clueless. The sibling who tried to actually use the mimeograph like they were told to were surprised at its easiness to use and printing quality. It is printing so ridiculously. This is revolutionary. Tomorrow's article could be made even with just this mimeograph invention. The elder brother acclaimed. The letters can be deciphered properly, and even the fine illustrations and pictures would be printed as they are. Is this your invention? No, it is not me. It is an invention of the great inventor, Thomas Edison. Or at least Falma wanted to say, but he is only a fictional figure in this world. This means we only need to write copy? The younger sister timidly asked Falma. That is true, you two only need to write a copy. That's why I thought it would be great if your Tenosyvinotis would get better, and your debt would be paid. You. The elder brother raised a weird voice. Oh God, I cannot believe this. Ni-san. We did it, little sister T. Thank you very much, Apothecary-sama. No, you are not a simple Apothecary-sama. The sibling held each other's hands. They looked exaggeratingly happy, but for them, it is a revolutionary invention. It is great to be your help. The work afterward can be done by your other hand, and if you like, you can also leave it to another person. Falma decided to sell them the base paper and ink at a very low price. They happily bought a lot of them. With this, we can make 100 or even 200 with just making one copy. We cannot believe this, the sibling was moved to tears. I don't think that you can print that much. The base paper would get damaged so. Well, I think it should be enough for 100. When Falma said that, they said they were happy because even so, it would still be an increase in their earnings. They said that they would be able to pay their debts and has a bright road ahead. But be careful of fake news. You'd fall into more debts the more you print them, Falma warned them. Yes, we can take our time to find news materials. The former edition was only scribbling up until now, but we can make good-looking articles from now on. How much would be one set of these? I will only ask you the material costs. And, also, that newspaper, can you sell one copy to the different world pharmacy? Of course. We will give it for free as long as you promise not to sell out the information. The sibling took off their masks and hats, and named themselves properly. André Mitterrand and Yves Mitterrand sibling. Although they looked slightly famished, the beautiful sibling with the green hair and eyes really stood out. It was decided that the different world pharmacy would be subscribed to the handwritten newspaper, the Imperial Capital Secret Report, Le Secret de la Cité Impériale, for free. I only found out after subscribing. But this newspaper was full of the aristocrat circle's hidden affairs, military information, and full of profitable secret commercial information that never appears in the limelight. No wonder people in that line of work would want them. The two siblings' business policy was to make a few handwritten copies. Mostly about highly priced information for wealthy people, so it couldn't be helped that most of the information they have was ones that are difficult to get. The mimeograph that was developed to alleviate their tenosynovitis were also introduced in the different world pharmacy. And the flow of work became remarkably efficient. Firstly, Velma examines a patient and writes a prescription. Then Ellen and the first-class apothecary part-timers would prepare the medicine. Here, this medicine is, then, the medicine prepared by Ellen and the others would be explained by a different apothecaries with explanation roles. They would kindly explain the medicine to the patients together with a copy of the patient compliance instruction that Velma wrote. In short, it is the so-called in Japan. This was printed using a mimeograph. Detailed counseling and explanations about the patient's condition would be done by the apothecary with the explanation roll. And if there were questions, they would be returned to Velma at once and receive guidance. The document with the explanations would be given to the patients. This idea does not only make the work efficient but also provides a good merit towards the patients, Velma, and the apothecaries. After all, up until now, those who have old age would easily forget things, and there are also those who are not taking the explanations to heart. They would ask about it many times and forget it again. That is why, having the explanation of how to drink the medicine, its effects, and how it would affect them written in a paper beforehand would be very kind to the patients. Eric, this is easy to understand. This is good, I always forget about it. The patients who received the instructions for the medicine for the first time returned satisfied. Oya, such side effects existed here. I did not know. This medicine must be taken twice a day? I'd only drink it once a day. There were also those who have not noticed their mistakes up until now. As usual, the mimeograph invention was registered with the Imperial Technology Bureau. Thanks to you, we've paid our debts so quickly. After a while, the Mitterrand sibling visited the pharmacy. This time, they came without hiding their faces. It looks like after they made the weekly Imperial Capital for the mass with information that targets commoners, it seems like it also started getting on the track. With that, they said that they want to slowly stop using informative materials with suggestive information. That's great. How's your tenosynovitis? Velma was also relieved that they have successfully paid their debts. After all, they seemed slightly famished before, but right now, they have healthy complexions. They probably left the lifestyle of one must work before eating. It is not painful anymore, it's healed now. This time, our shoulders ache from using rollers too much. Please buy compresses and decrease the number of print copies. When Velma said that, it is exactly as you say. They said and awkwardly laughed. From then on, it is said that the Mitterrand sibling would walk in the daylight without wearing masks. After that, Lot had started to give artistic handouts of the pharmacy printed using the mimeograph on the street. As a result of that, it was said that more and more customers visited the different world pharmacy, and Velma did not know whether to be thankful or not be thankful.